We are starting our Meet the Candidate series for the 1st District congressional race. That primary is now, believe it or not, 3 weeks and a day away. Joining us now is Stephen Casey, a Democrat in that crowded primary. 12 Democrats in that race for the 1st District congressional seat to replace David Cicilline. Representative Casey, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, he's been at the State House for over a decade. He's been a firefighter in Woonsocket for 17 years. What I want to ask you, Stephen, is how did those two life experiences get you ready to be a congressman to potentially represent the 1st District in Rhode Island?
Well, I think first, being a firefighter, I've literally been in everybody's home, and I understand how Rhode Islanders struggle. I understand what they're up against, and I think that brings me closer to being on the street and understanding what Rhode Islanders need. But in that case, I think I know what they need, but I'm going to wait for them to tell me what they need.
Which is what, though? And what
well,
you sense
I think we need a lot of help with. We do have issues with human services, mental health issues, things like that that are really a struggle right now. And we also have substance use disorder problems. That's what I recognize from being on the rescue.
Okay.
So those are issues that we need to address. We're doing that on a state level. We're really trying to do what we can, but I think we need more federal assistance to do that.
All right, so help me and our viewers understand, and potential voters, how you got to this point. David Cicilline announces back several months ago, you know what, I'm done with politics for now, I'm going to enter the private sector. You hear that announcement and you think, A, I think I'd like to run for that. B, someone said, hey, Steve, you should run for that, or a combination of those.
A combination of both, and you know, I feel like I've been doing this all my life. My dad was a politician when I was a kid, and I used to follow him around and shake hands and hold signs at the polls. And I really got a decent understanding of the political process, and then having been at the State House in leadership positions for the last 10 years, it's really opened my eyes as to what the possibilities can be. And I just feel like I can do more for the state of Rhode Island and the people of Rhode Island.
But what was it about that where you saw that and said, this is a good match for me, this is something I'd like to try?
I think I have the personality. I think right now, for me, there's a big problem with polarization in politics, and I think I break that mold.
Within the party, or just against
within
the two
the
parties?
party and nationally, nationally against both parties. And I think that I'm the kind of person, I'm going to get to know you first, understand what makes you tick, and for me to get to know you, and for us to agree to disagree on certain things, but at least come together on the things we agree on and work from there.
And do it civilly is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that's really, especially in the State House. I'm a union firefighter, but I've got the support of the business community because I've always been able to bring groups from competing interests together to find common ground, compromise. Nobody's always 100% happy, but when we're all working together,
I guess that's a good deal, right?
Survive.
When
yeah.
no one's 100% happy, everybody has to give a little bit.
That's what they say.
All right, so Stephen, when you've been out campaigning, I'm just curious, I want to pick your brain a little bit. Do people even know that Cicilline has retired and that there's a special election on September 5th?
Some people don't. Some people don't understand that. There are certain.
They're surprised.
Certain segments of the population are disengaged, but you have to understand, people are working really hard. They're trying to raise their families. Most households have people, mother and father with 2 jobs, or a mother with 2 jobs, kids, health, daycare, all that stuff. So some people really don't pay a lot of attention. I think that's why it's important that we as politicians or as public servants pay attention to really what's going on to help people out. Like I said, there are some that are very engaged, and they want to, as soon as they see someone, they want to talk to you. Oh yeah, they want to talk to you and ask you what your opinions are.
Stephen, what is your gut telling you with the number of candidates in that primary? What is your gut telling you that it's going to take vote percentage-wise to win that primary?
Well, percentage-wise, I don't want to say, but they're saying that 35,000 people are possibly going to vote.
35,000
to 40,000 people now is the vote. It seems to be
going.
It
seems optimistic.
Well, it seems to be. The number seems to be going up as we move forward because the race is getting a little more heated and we're getting more publicity about it. But I think
for the wrong reasons, though.
This is true.
Yeah.
But I think that the win number, as people call it, is probably 8,000 to 9,000 votes. So that's if you can really engage a base of voters, then there's a good opportunity.
And I'm guessing, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm guessing with your time in Woonsocket and the Blackstone Valley, you feel like you can do that.
Yeah, I think I have a very strong base in Woonsocket, but I'm also endorsed by all of the firefighters and the police and the correction officers in the state. That's a very large base as well.
And they show up to vote.
Basically every first responder group in the state.
All right, with the time we have left, Stephen, I'll quickly go through. Give me 3 or 4 issues that are most important to you that you would be fighting for people in your district if you would go to Washington.
Well, I think the most important thing for me, I'd like to get an accounting of foreign aid that we spend, and we're sending all this money overseas. We'd like to figure out and the solution. The 3 or 4 things, 3 or 4 things that I can come up with is if we're sending all this foreign aid, let's get an accounting of it. I want to understand, where that money's going, how it's spent. But I'd also like to propose a 10% what I call matching fund investment back into the country. So if we're sending $100 billion or $1 billion, if we're sending $1 billion over, let's take $100 million matching funds back here
Use in
to take care of housing. We have a very, very bad housing issue.
Okay.
Mental health,
There you go.
veteran services,
Yep.
and our underserved
Seniors.
communities. Yep, and seniors. So I think that's an easy investment. And if we're, like I said, how can we send money? And yes, we have to promote democracy, preserve democracy, but we got to take care of ourselves at home first.
Okay, we'll end it there. Stephen Casey, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Stephen Casey, Democrat running in the 1st District Congressional Primary. Again, that special election primary is September 5th, which is the day right after Labor Day.